Hey, how are you doing there? I'm here today to talk to you about hope and belief. And I have a study from 1957 that was conducted by Carl Richter at Harvard involving some rats that exemplifies how important hope and belief are, and how we have this subconscious understanding and conscious understanding of what we can be hopeful for and what we can believe in ourselves for, what can we depend on ourselves for, what can we look forward to from the future. And we construct these limitations and expectations subconsciously through our human experience and the way we perceive the world. And what Carl Richter did was he took 3 batches of rats and put them in water. The first batch, he took 12 domesticated rats that were familiar with human hands, and he dropped them into jars of water to see how long the rat would tread before he gave up. And of the first dozen rats that he dropped in that were domesticated, 3 of the rats gave up almost instantaneously and perished within 2 minutes. They succumbed to their fate, gave up hope, gave up belief, and just lowered their heart rate and just gave up. They thought it was over for them. They had no hope. They had no expectation to persevere or survive. They instantaneously gave up. The other 9 that were familiar with human hands and were fed with human hands throughout their life, they were able to tread water for 40 to 60 hours before succumbing. They went into fight or flight mode. They fought and they persevered for over 2 days on average, 40 to 60 hours. A rat did not give up. Now let's move to the second batch. The second batch of rats were 34 undomesticated, very much tougher, more aggressive, more in tune with their survival instincts, like some badass street rats that were not used to being held with human hands, that their instincts and everything about them, they believed in relying on themselves. And in this group of rats, a few of them just had an emotional response to the hands touching them and just gave up instantaneously. They just almost went into immediate cardiac arrest and died. And they succumbed to their death, and the other remainder of that group didn't last much longer. They all died within 15 minutes or so. They just sunk, gave up, lowered their heart rates, accepted it, closed their eyes, and sunk to the bottom and accepted their demise. Let's go to the third group. The third group was even a larger group of rats, even more rats than 34. And with this group, what Carl Richter did was he put them in, and as he saw them giving up within that short time frame, like the other undomesticated rats, he scooped them out, he towel dried them, he let them recuperate, he let them get back to their baseline homeostasis of just, okay, I'm good, I'm surviving, I'm fine, I don't have any threat. I have overcame this ghastly situation. And what he did was, after the rats had recuperated, he dropped them back into the water. Now, what is your expectation in this situation. If you're the rat, now you have experienced something that gives you hope for the future. You have hope. You know that there may be some sort of intervention that keeps you alive. So you have more motivation to fight as hard as you can, raise your heartbeat, go into fight or flight mode. Do everything you can up until you just reach complete mental and physical exhaustion and have to succumb to your fate. And what shockingly, this group exceeded all previous rats, and they lasted 60 to 80 hours before finally accepting their fate. And I think this story is incredible for ourselves to try and implement into our own lives. How can believing in ourselves, how can hope change the way our future unfolds? What if we expand our expectations for ourselves and we are able to elevate past this baseline level of expectation and idea of what we deserve in the future? What if we somehow escape this box that we have created for ourselves and that society and our entire community and years of growing up and our molded perceptions of what is going to happen to me? What can I expect? What can I hope for myself? And this is very much in line with manifesting things. If you don't hope for good things in the future, if you don't have a sense of everything is going to be all right, I'm going to achieve the quality of life and the baseline is set very low, then you're really limiting yourselves. And this will be subconsciously and potentially consciously what shapes your perception for yourself and for those around you. And so what I'm taking away from this story is have hope. Think about the things that you want. Do not despair or succumb to the challenges and expectations that you conjure up in your head and that you experience in real life. Find a way to believe in yourself and find a way to work towards that. And this, I'm not saying this is a situation where you can put out, I need all of this stuff by tomorrow, and if I believe it, it's going to come true. That's not really what I take away from this. What I take away from is have hope. Do not just submit to tough situations. Be willing to fight for what you love and what you believe in and what your vision of your future self looks like. And the rats are just a way of illustrating how important belief and hope are. So that hand can be anything, whether it's divine intervention or the universe or whatever your belief set allows you to perceive that hand as. Hope. Hope for your future. Hope for the life that you want to live. Hope for the person that you want to be. We all have our imperfections and our challenges. We all have imbalances. We all have weaknesses and things about ourselves that we don't necessarily love about ourselves. And while it is important to love yourself, it's also important to be aware of those things. Acknowledge them. Don't allow your ego to suppress them. And work towards improving and sharpening those components of your life so that you can be a role model, a mentor for those around you in your community, in your family, and your friend circles. So I thought that was a really interesting study on the rats, and I hope that it will influence you to think a little bit differently when it comes to what you are capable of, what your future holds for you, and open your mind a bit, because having an open mind and overcoming the self-limiting beliefs that we have in our minds it's not always easy to do. There has to be a trailblazer, and it starts with one belief set. Believe in one thing. Believe you can improve in one thing. Believe you can do something that's never been done, either by yourself or by any human being. Another example of this is, quick example, they took 1,000 fleas, they put them in a mason jar, and fleas have the ability to jump pretty high, but what they did was they capped the mason jar, and eventually they took the cap of that mason jar off, and typically the height would be easy for a flea to jump out of, but this group of 1,000 fleas adopted a new set of self-limiting expectation, and they were not able to jump any higher than the lid that was placed on them externally by a human being, or to them, let's just say, by divine intervention. And what was amazing is the next generation of fleas that were born into that mason jar, they couldn't jump higher than that mason lid either. So it just shows how much of a monkey see, monkey do culture that we live in. And we adopt these constraints and limitations of what humans are capable of, and it's really selling ourselves and our human race short. I think the status quo is so easily accepted from all scopes of life across the spectrum, having to do with just interpersonal relationships on a daily level, to how we treat ourselves with our own self-talk and our own self-perceptions. And my hope is that you can come much stronger at being connected to yourself, being connected to the source, and being connected to each other. And that inner peace, that inner acceptance becomes inner peace and acceptance by example to the world around you. So just open your mind, be hopeful. Don't limit the way that you think about yourself, and don't think that your future is hopeless and that your current conditions are a doom and gloom sentence for the eternal I don't know what I was going to say exactly there, but don't think that your current situation, your current level across anything is what you are doomed for. Just be open-minded, try your best, and be hopeful. Be hopeful for your future. I think that's the biggest takeaway here. Be hopeful. Good things can come to you at any time. Life-changing experiences can come at any time. And just an epiphany that one little spark can completely shift the trajectory of the remainder of your years on this earth. So, be tough, be resilient, and I'm done ranting. These last few minutes probably were not super valuable, but just wanted to kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent there and reinforce the message here. I'll catch you later. Peace out.